fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm your host, Rosemary LaChance, a spiritual teacher and advisor.
And I'm Carla Augustin, a spiritual teacher and your co-host for tonight.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his series. We will play one or two different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
Now, if you have a group that you think would be interested in what we have to offer, we are available to come to your group and teach from this series. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. Please visit Rosemary's or Hans's website, where you'll find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Our shows are now available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go on YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We're constantly adding new shows, so please keep checking back. We're also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show. We hope you enjoy the show.
All right. Tonight we're playing, this is our show number 225 from the Life Explained series. And the first DVD we're going to show you is called Intelligence versus Intellect. And as soon as the control room gets it up on the monitor, we'll play it for you.
In the Life Explained series, I would like to show you the difference between intelligence and intellect, and I think you will find it very interesting. Our lives have increasingly been taken over by artificial intelligence, and soon we will live in a world that is totally controlled by algorithms. The author Noah Harari describes this dark future so well in his mind-blowing book Homo Deus, and he calls it dataism. So therefore, it's very important for us to understand the difference between intelligence and intellect and how we got into this mess.
Let us remember where we originally all came from, a long, long time ago, our true home, which is the absolute reality. It is the spiritual realm of God, of love, divine order, intelligence, and so on. At one time, eons ago, we have turned away from this spiritual reality and created our own relative reality in this material world. This was a slow process, and if you want to learn more about it, I suggest you look at my video on how reality works. The reason why we left the absolute reality was that we were living against the law of love by living selfishly and egocentric. By doing so, we have created something totally new, something that does not exist in the absolute reality. These can be conditions like illness, which is always the result of karma, or hunger, or fear, and many other things. But I will only stick to these three typical examples for our exercise. Being suddenly faced with these adversities, we had to find solutions. And for that, our ego used the intellect. Now, the intellect is a marvelous tool to solve problems and to fix things and to find temporary solutions. The goal of the intellect is mostly for the protection and the survival of the ego, which also always identifies with our physical body. Watch my video on ego for more detailed information. So, with our intellect, we found ways to fight illness. Things like drugs, radiations, operations, DNA manipulations, and so on and so on. And to fight hunger. Our intellect developed fertilizers, pesticides, GMOs, irrigations, and so on and so on. And to fight our fear, our intellect came up with weapons to protect us, surveillance, technology, the internet. As you know, that the internet was an invention by the military, and so on and so on. Now, it is interesting that none of these inventions eradicated illness, hunger, or fear, and so on. They merely did some patchwork, some of it more impressive than others. And in doing so, it often created new and worse problems. For instance, to produce all these inventions, we are raping and ruining the earth. And once these inventions are outdated, we pollute our countrysides, our rivers and oceans. But intelligence is different than the intellect. Intelligence would never do that. Intelligence would never find ways to fight conditions like illness, hunger, or fear. It would always change whatever it is that caused these conditions. It goes to the root of things instead of trying to mend things, which is what the intellect does. Now, intelligence knows that the cause of all illness is karma. You may want to watch my video on how karma works. And karma is the result of unlawful living, meaning living against the law of love. It can be selfishness or self-abuse, like a destructive lifestyle, and so on. Living in total harmony with the absolute law will bring back total health and eliminate illness. Hunger or food shortage can also be a result of karma, but also living against the harmony with nature. For instance, our intelligence tells us that if we all would stop eating animals or animal body parts, we suddenly could stop all hunger. Presently, about 70 to 80% of all crops go to meat production instead of feeding people. This would be a very simple and highly effective way to feed everybody on the globe and even have a surplus. In addition, giving up our meat diet would substantially reduce the causes of many, many illnesses. Now, fear is always the result of a confused mind, somebody who has forgotten who he is in truth, somebody who believes in separation and who has forgotten that everything is connected. Intelligence is never afraid, because intelligence knows it is eternal. It does not fear death, like our ego and our intellect do. For intelligence, there is nothing to defend, nothing to control, and nothing to manipulate. So the answer to any problem is not to fight it or dissect it as our intellect does, but to deal with the cause. And intelligence always goes to the root of the problem to make a change. We can also say that intelligence comes from our heart, whereas the intellect comes from our head, our brain. Intelligence is part of our inheritance because God is intelligence and we are part of God. And as I said earlier, the intellect is a useful tool that helps us to discriminate, to take apart and judge in our daily lives. But as we have seen with the avalanche of technology, we have overused it. We are hopelessly trapped by our intellect because it is so limited and is also very seductive with all the electronic devices. And if you want to know more about this dangerous trend, you may enjoy watching my video, Technology Unmasked. You will also notice that many inventions by the intellect are only available for money, lots of money in some cases. On the other hand, the intelligence is always free. You can't make money by telling somebody to avoid lung cancer. It would be a good idea for him to stop smoking. Intelligence is all around us and in us. For instance, it is intelligence that performs millions of different functions in our cells, our glands, our organs, in our body. Not the intellect. We always have complete access to this divine intelligence and may go to it for inspiration, guidance, and wisdom. So to sum it all up, it would be more appropriate to call artificial intelligence better artificial intellect, because algorithms, computers, and apps may be 1,000,000 times smarter than we are, but they are not alive. They do not have the divine life force, which is intelligence.
All our problems will never be solved if we only rely on our intellect. But this is what we have been doing until now. And you see the mess we are in. To find any answer to a problem, we have to use intelligence. God and intelligence are synonymous. It is the absolute law of love. There is simply no other way that would get us permanently out of the situation we are in. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was
all right.
interesting.
That was interesting. I mean, a powerful statement that our lives are increasingly being taken over by artificial intelligence. That is an interesting thing. Gives us something to think about. It's often said nothing in the world is real except love, and he talks a lot about love, it being what's real. Explain a little bit more what that means. Nothing in the world, in this world, is real except love. Like this, none of this that we see, experience, is real because it's not the eternal. It's not where God is. Is that what it's meant?
There's only two emotions in the only two. Love is all there is. There's only two emotions that we feel. We either a giving of love or a cry for love. That's what it's all about here. No matter what we do, we're like players on a stage here. We're playing these games that everybody is made up and are doing and showing, like movies. They make them up. We're doing the same thing, really. What does it really matter what we collect here, what we do, how much riches we have, everything that we have, which we get from our intellect. We study, we learn, we become, we're able to make out in this world. And I always used to say, what if the dream were the reality and the reality was the dream? So we're all having the same dream. And that's what it means. That's why he said all there is love, right?
Yes, all there is love. That's the only thing that's real.
But the only thing that's real. The rest of it is just the game we're playing. We do play this game because when it's over, we go home empty-handed, don't we? So, yeah.
When we leave the planet, you mean?
Right.
Right. All right, so he said when we're faced with a problem, we use our intellect because we're trying to find a solution. We're trying to mend it. But he recommends that we use our intelligence, which comes from God. And and we use our intelligence to find the cause. So my question was, and then what? So take, say, skin cancer. You have skin cancer. So if you're going to find the cause, does he mean, more than, okay, I was out in the sun all the time and there's family history? Is he meaning the cause of the karma that resulted in the illness? Or is he meaning it works hand in hand with intellect? I'm just confused. It's kind of like, do we just find the cause and that's it?
Well, not all illness is karma. Some of it just happens because of carelessness, because of the way we treat our bodies. Like we'll say cancer, for instance. All the food that we have today, as we've mentioned before on the show, if it's not organic, it has pesticides in it. And also they're genetically altering our food. So they're putting things into the food that we don't know what it is that they are putting in this food, and we don't know if we're allergic to it. We don't know if it's good or bad for our bodies. The GMO is putting cells from other animals or cells from other fruits or vegetables or something into the fruit or the vegetable or the meat or the animal. Once they, like hamburger meat, when they grind it up and all that. So we don't know, okay? And definitely all of it is got pesticides. And pesticides cause heavy metals in our body, in our organs, which after a while turn to cancer. So if we use our intellect, we're going to go out and we're going to do radiation chemotherapy. We're going to do everything the doctor says. We're going to, just not even look up about it or anything. We're just going to do it. If we use our intelligence, we're going to find out what we can do naturally to help cure the cancer without going through the suffering and the fact that chemotherapy kills the cancer maybe, but it also kills all the good cells in our body. And every so often, all our cells completely regenerate. So that would mean that cells that had the cancer would get better. Okay? Of course, nobody's going to believe this, but so if you use your intellect, you go to God, you pray, and you say, okay.
And your intelligence, you go to God.
Yeah.
For using your intelligence.
Did I say
yeah.
intellect?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Intelligence. Yeah.
You go to God, and you just say, Father, I don't know why I have this. If you can tell me there's something I'm doing wrong, is it the way I'm thinking? Is it the way I'm acting? Or is it just karmic, something that I have to go through? And no matter what the reason is, tell me how I can be free of it. Tell me what I should do. And pray about it. Send me the people who can help me. Send me the things that can help me. So you pray about it. And if it's something that I must go through, give me the courage and the strength to go through it. So that's using your intelligence. Make me strong, help me, help my family, and so forth and so on. The intellect will be just do what they tell you to do. And whatever happens, happens.
So it doesn't go, it can't go hand in hand? Is he saying that? I mean, it can't go, I mean, I often think any illness, even say a head cold, I get a head cold, you know, I'm thinking, you know, I want to get it better.
Sure, you'll take medicine.
So I'll take medicine. But then I am reflecting on, okay, why, you know, why did this happen? Okay, I could look back on it. I got run down. I was with somebody that was sick.
Right.
You know, I can look at it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you could.
And sort of find the cause.
Yeah.
I mean, is that in simplistic form
Well,
what he
getting a
means?
cold, you know, it's just those things you said. I don't think there's much intelligence about that we need to use about that because we just have a cold. We're talking heavy illnesses or blows of fate that happen to us. That's when we should question. But you got the cold. I mean, I've seen bank tellers, when they want to count your money, I saw a girl, achoo! And then she went back to the money and handing it out. I said to one of them, "You're not going to hand me that money after you just sneeze in your hand, are you?" "Oh well, I want some different money."
Yeah.
And clean your hands, you know, things like that. People are careless.
Right.
There's germs in the air and everything else. I don't think you catch a cold from being cold. You get pneumonia from being cold.
Right.
And it could be even in food and things you touch in the store. Somebody sneezing down the grocery aisle and you just walked right through it. So things like that. You don't really need the intellect for that, or the intelligence for that. That would just be an intellectual thing. So, does it make sense?
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have a hard time balancing. I like to balance it because I feel like if the technology's here and you can extend life, then, you know, why wouldn't you use, you know what I mean, the technology? Like, I feel as though there's some people with some illnesses, if they don't have Western medicine intervention, they will die. I mean, they're going to die. So if you don't want to die, you know, then you still get the intervention. But so I'm asking, is he saying only intelligence, or yes, you can go ahead and...
You can use both.
You can use both,
Sure,
okay.
you can use both. Definitely use both.
So still getting God to guide you and your intelligence.
Some people can't take I can't handle medicine. I have a very hard time. And some people can't take the side effects that come with it and so forth. So we're going to look for something natural. But we're still using the intellect to look up and read what's natural. So they go hand in hand.
They do go hand in hand. Okay.
And yes, you're right. The medicine is here for certain things that really help you. Take the medicine.
Okay.
Because even God said in the different things that He told us that it's here for you. Use it wisely. That people here, and it's going to make life a little more easier for you when you have this problem. So, you know,
So,
definitely.
okay.
Oh, definitely use both.
All right, because that was another one of my questions.
I'm sorry, I didn't make that straight.
So there's there's definitely a balance between advancing as a society, but still maintaining our intelligence. And I think maybe that's what he's saying. You know, in other words, it's good the wheel got invented, and it's good things get invented nowadays, but still a lot of people forget the intelligence piece, the connection to spirit in terms of guiding us. I mean, I look at it, you know, I have my phone, okay, it's here to stay, right, something like a phone, but my connection to spirit will say, put that phone down now. Like you don't need to be you don't need to be like this.
Oh, the cell phones
all day.
with the things that come on. Yeah, the cell phones.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
oh, yeah.
So is that a little bit just that balance of
Yes.
it's okay to take advantage of what's out there in technology and be, be in the world.
Right.
But don't forget that peace, and that's what we're forgetting is that
Peace.
piece of connection to spirit.
That's right. We keep our
Yeah.
minds so busy all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
We don't think to go to it.
So many people. I stood in the mall the other day and was watching people walk back and forth with their heads looking down.
Right.
Look around you. Look at people. Smile. Make us say a kind word. Look in the windows.
Right, right.
Why are you walking
Right,
in the
right,
mall?
the- right.
And
Right.
this is where it's total intellect, just complete and total intellect.
Yeah.
There's a healthy balance.
Yeah.
You
A
know?
nice healthy balance.
Yeah, a nice healthy balance. That's what we're saying.
All right. So, do you feel like we've been given all the intelligence we need for this life? Like we have everything that we need.
We always have. We're perfect.
Yeah. See,
we're perfect
we
beings
forget
before we
this.
came into this world. So we don't act like perfect beings because we don't believe it. Even someone who's acting very dumb, he just forgot. He just forgot who he was. Okay? So, I mean, you can't judge him. You can only say, well, it's sad for him, But we knew everything before we came. We know everything. We're perfect. So,
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
right.
yeah, understand? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I love when he talks about having access to our divine intelligence, and that we can always go to this divine intelligence for guidance and wisdom and inspiration. And so talk a little bit more about that, that people realize that divine intelligence, but basically connection to God, right? He's our intelligence. And how we can always tap into that. We can always go to that.
We have all the answers inside of us. I mean, people don't believe that, but
No, I know that's a hard one
yeah,
to believe.
we have all the answers inside. So
when we're saying we don't know what to do, I don't know what to do about this problem.
I always say, go within.
Yes, right.
Like when meditate, sit down quietly and concentrate for a while. Try to get your mind cleared. Listen to some nice, soft music. Music for meditating, not radio station. And go within and pray, and ask, your angels guide you, lead you, and tell them you want an answer to this question you'd like to know. And maybe you won't get it right now, but maybe you leave it there with them, and then maybe some way during the day the answer will come, maybe a few days later or a week.
Exactly.
Yeah, but try to do that. If we did that every day, which we're really supposed to do that every day, go in the quiet, ask our questions that we want, help to get our mind quiet. The more we practice getting our mind quiet, the more we won't be invaded by everything that's out there.
Right.
I mean, I know people who, there's never a time when they're silent. There's a radio, a television, a cell phone, something going on, a telephone conversation. Something is always going. Never quiet around them. So the mind is never quiet. Have a hard time going to sleep. So what do they do? Leave the TV on. Fall asleep to the TV. How many of you do that? A lot, right? That's not good. That is not good at all. You can never travel to higher places and see the most beautiful things that are out there in the universe if you're going to sleep with the TV on. No. That is bringing you down constantly. And then somebody will shut the TV off. Oh, you wake up. So what is that telling you? The noise.
Yeah, you're tuned into the noise.
You're tuning into the people talking. You want a little noise machine? That's okay. That's different. That's a plane, or a quiet thunderstorm, or something nice and peaceful, but not people talking and drama going on. Because your mind is picking that up. Even though you're asleep, the brain cells are registering that.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
it's sad that it has to be, but it has to be because people don't know how to clear their minds. So the only way they can do it is by focusing on the conversation that's going on in the story, the movie, the series. And after a while, it's boring and they fall asleep. So
Right, right, right.
See what I'm
so
saying?
So knowing that difference.
that intelligence
With the, yeah,
is
because
in
like
us.
you said, the intellect doesn't have divine life force.
No.
We've been given an intellect.
Yeah.
But
To get along in this world, yeah.
To get along in this world, but it doesn't have the divine life force, and it's really our spiritual intelligence that does.
Right.
So connecting to that, connecting to God, and going within to find the cause of whatever.
We use the intellect to get along in this world. Learn how to drive a car, learn a new job, learn how to cook, learn how to sew, whatever.
Right.
That's what the intellect is for.
Okay.
Because we have to get around. We have to get around and get
Right,
along
we
with
have
people.
to, right.
So that's what that's for. But when you have problems and things you need to know and you want to be a better person, you use your intelligence.
Right. When you're feeling fear, use your intelligence.
Use your
Go
intelligence.
to your
Yeah.
intelligence.
Always. Always. So
Okay.
does that help?
Yeah, that's great. That's
Okay.
great. So
Is that-
I'm done. Yeah.
Okay.
We can go on to the next one.
All right, the next one, Technology Unmasked. As soon as the control room gets it up on the monitor, we'll hear it and talk about it.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm, and in this video in the Life Explained series I would like to offer a different view about our crazy fascination with modern technology and particularly with our handheld devices. I will show that they are in total opposition to our true spiritual heritage. And it's not just the electromagnetic radiation that we have to worry about. No, it may be far more sinister. As we have heard many times before, we are spiritual beings. And as spiritual beings, our true home and nature is the spiritual world. And as such, we are totally evolved and perfect spiritual beings. We were endowed with all spiritual abilities, like being able to communicate telepathically with any other being. We could even fly and float and travel long distances, even into different universes, just by the power of thought and the law of attraction. We brought all these skills with us when many of us incarnated here onto planet Earth a long time ago. We also had the Akashic Records. That is an ethereal information band or a corona that surrounds this planet. Everything that has ever happened, is happening or will happen is recorded in the Akashic Records, and everybody could access it for information. Now with time most of us have forgotten our original skills, and very few can still access the Akashic Records. Like for instance the well-known psychic Edgar Cayce. He got all his information, also called readings, from the Akashic Records. But there are still a few places today, like the Monroe Institute, where these forgotten skills are rediscovered and developed. And as the density of our bodies and planet increased, we have fallen more and more into materialism and began to create crude substitutes for our original skills. This led to development of sometimes highly sophisticated societies like Lemuria and Atlantis, but they all came to a crushing end. And we now are in a new cycle called the Kali Yuga. In the ancient Sanskrit writing. It is a period when the negative satanic and demonic forces are once again allowed to influence this planet. It all started very innocently in China some 5,000 years ago with the inventions of things like paper, printing, compass, giant ships and a lot more. It slowly spread across the planet and got strong momentum with the age of industrialization, where products were produced by machines. And what were many of these products? There were largely crude substitutes for our forgotten spiritual skills. There were modes of transport, which we could do just by thoughts, just like cars now, and trains and planes to travel, or phones to communicate, and TVs and computers for information. To make these products, we began to rape and exploit and poison the land, the air and the water of this planet. We also began to exploit other human beings for their cheap labor. No wonder that most of these inventions actually came from negative sources, from this or other semi-material universes. Their demonic master plan went further by blocking out the Akashic Records. They created an artificial information band. consisting of thousands of satellites, our future space trash, as we can call it. And they are calling it the Internet. Now, let's think about what is a net. A net is something to catch something, and who is the catch here? We are the catch. But the system is not only an artificial source of information, it continuously sends radiation onto our planet. And it is also a complete surveillance system of every human being. And it is not free, as many think. Every improving algorithm makes sure that you and I are only seeing what others want us to see. It is a tool of absolute control. And all these electronic devices are very seductive. And more people are becoming internet addicts. They are escaping into alternative fake realities, war games, porn, video binging, texting, twittering, image sharing, and so on. It is a vehicle for so many to express their hatred and disrespect for others. It is drenched in violence and negativity. Now, all these developments are not coincidental. They are carefully planned to keep mankind in the madness of ever producing and consuming, and most of all, to keep us eternally restless. The entire artificial world order depends on this technology. It does not permit us to stop and think and reflect and go within. It purposely prevents us to find inner peace and a healthy, loving relationship with ourselves and others. It prevents us to explore our feelings and emotions and to find out who we truly are. That's why this is the serpent in full action. The shiny toys that we hold in our hand have now today totally blinded us. Remember, just some 35 years ago, most of these distractions did not exist and people interacted very differently with each other. True progress is not more technology, but the rediscovery and development of our skills. And to reconnect with the spiritual guiding world within us. It is about reconnecting with God, because that is the absolute only reality that is true, and it is also our true home.
Okay,
How's that? Kind of scary, isn't it?
It is kind of scary.
Scary, it really is.
Yeah.
What's going on right under people's nose, and they have no idea about it. And if you try to tell them, they don't listen.
No, it's not connecting that. And I think that's what we're talking about in the last segment. You know, go with with the advancement of society, if you will, and new discoveries and these new inventions and the internet and the cell phone and the Twitter and and all this. Go with it, but don't lose that piece of yourself. That's what scares me the most.
Just take the best of it.
Just take the best of it, but
and put it away.
Maintain your connection to yourself and to God and to a higher power, that this doesn't become your God. You know,
That's you nailed it right on the head.
This is your false God, right?
This has become your God, the people's God. This has become our God.
This has become our God.
Yeah, it has.
And
all this technology.
We believe everything. We give up that freedom. You know, I was reminded when I was watching this, you know, I don't know if your mother ever said, my mother would always say, don't believe everything you hear. You know, and I feel like we're there again. Like, that advice is good nowadays because people believe everything they read on Facebook and everything on Instagram and in the news everything. And, you know, and it's just, don't believe, you know, discern yourself, you know, what
you
truth
say
is.
that about your mother. Yes, when I was young, she was young, and she was then more into the intelligence, and she would say those great things. But when she was aged, when she was, you know, almost getting ready to pass on, she'd tell me something, and I'd say, but Ma, how do you know that that's true? She goes, because it's on the television. The news says it's got to be true. Wow, was that she ever changed from the mother that told me to the mother that she became because of the brainwashing from all the stuff that's going on. It's like you said, there's radiation in the air constantly bombarding us, constantly.
Yeah.
And then God knows what the chemtrails have in them, you know. So, and the internet that's out there, and like you said, blocking the Akashic Records and all that, people don't realize. And they, oh, baloney, that's not true, nah. And meanwhile, all the people who make these things are counting their money and counting their money and getting richer and richer and richer on us.
At our expense.
That's right.
Yeah, at our expense.
Could create something new. Oh, they think they're getting restless now. Let's make something a little better. Now we have an iPhone 1, 2, iPhone 10, a C phone, a B phone, whatever. I don't even know what they are because I'm not into it.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening. And you spend more money and more money, and get farther and farther away from your home, your Father, your divine intelligence, your spirituality.
Well, that's what I worry about the most, I think, is that, I mean, you know, I use my phone, I'm on Twitter, things like that, but just worrying about us giving up our freedoms and our privacy, for sure. And but giving up your freedom, and the biggest freedom is your own thoughts and your own feelings and your own opinion of what's right for you, instead of having somebody. It's great to listen to opinions, but then always formulate yourself.
You have to, because you'll be going in 10 different directions at once.
Right.
Have you set a little time like I do? I set some time in the morning usually when I'm having my coffee, and I'll get on the computer and I'll just skim the news, see what's anything I need to know, and close out. And then get your email, and then you go on to Facebook to see what's happening with the people, say hello, how are you, some nice pictures. And then when you're done, an hour or two, shut it off. I don't pick up my phone during the day to see what people are saying on Facebook. It's done. That's enough.
I've gotten to that point too.
Yeah, just, and you can enjoy. Nobody's saying you can't enjoy it, but don't make it your whole life.
Right.
That's what everyone's doing. They're making it their whole life.
Yeah.
Everything. And the kids, instead of going out and play, make up, use your imagination. When I do therapy, I remember I asked a fellow, use your imagination now and tell me a trip you want to take, you know. I'm thinking spiritually, right? And he's going along, telling me, I'm flying, I'm doing this. And then the stewardess came. I said, what stewardess? He said, what are you talking about? I said, that was the airplane I was flying. He had no imagination. I said, no, make it up. He couldn't do it. And there's a lot of people like that. You lost your imagination. The imagination is what made all the magic for you. Don't you miss that magic?
I am curious, just to back up a little bit, but he was saying up until the time paper was produced, which I had to Google, I didn't know, but it was about 100 BC.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't know. But he said people did communicate telepathically and access, the Akashic Records. So this was going on all the time. And then it was slowly with the different types of inventions. So in other words, we could write a note, which took away from telepathically communicating.
Well, see, to tell you the whole story about creation would take a while, and I can't go really into all of that, but we came to this earth as spirit beings, perfect. We communicated with each other mentally, you know, and we didn't have to speak words or anything like that.
Even while we were on this planet.
When we first, in the beginning.
In the beginning, when we were on the planet, right.
And then as time went on, we started getting farther away from our thoughts about him, because after all, we left heaven of our own free will.
Right.
All right. And we got further and further away, and we stopped using the mind so much and started using the things we found on the planet. And then man couldn't communicate like thought to thought.
Quite as easily, right.
He tried to make words, and the first words were like the caveman, you know, things like that. And that was the way we communicated. And as we got further and further away from our divine heritage and our divine intelligence, we started using words and making things and using things, and our bodies became denser and denser and denser until we formed this shell around our spirits. And that's what we got around it. And the first ones were like caveman was really true. They were rough. And then as we matured more and more on this planet, our bodies became softer, better looking, and so forth and so on. But all the while, we're still getting farther away. But some people didn't. Some people it happened to, but they kept that. And these are the people you meet who are psychic, who have these abilities, but don't use them to try to tell people's fortunes.
Right.
You know, but can tell when danger's coming, can tell, can help people with problems and tell them how to search inside for themselves. So we went like down, 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 and then we started going up, 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 up for learning these certain things. But so now it's just a down and up thing. It's a down and up thing. Some people, other people. So, you know, some people come into this world, they remember some past lives. You know, you've heard that, you've read that, you've seen things like that. So,
yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yeah. So, he says these inventions came from negative forces. You know, why? Why do they want us inventing things? To do that? To get us from tapping into our inner intelligence?
Well, the what they wanted, the inventions they made, what did it do for the people who made these inventions? What did it do for them? It made them money, made them rich, and a lot of people were not kind with their money. They were not sharing and giving and helping. They were getting more and more greedy as time went on, and create a better one. So that's the reason why he said that like that. It doesn't always come from light sources. It comes from dark sources too, you know? So, and of course the Lucifer wants to keep us tied to this world, so he's going to tell everyone, yeah, you're right, let's do it that way, let's you know, and you don't even know who's telling you.
All right, because that was the other part of the question too. He said all these inventions and handheld devices and all that are meant to keep us eternally restless. Well, what does that mean, eternally restless?
Well, what do we want? We have phone one, cell phone, first cell phone. Ooh, that's nice, you know. And then after a while, boy, this is not enough. I'm restless now. I want something better. Oh, they come out with number 2. Oh, that's great. Let's keep us for. That's why it happens. Eternally craving the next. That's what restlessness is. Not being satisfied with what you have, internally craving the next. More of this, more of that.
So eternally in this life. He doesn't mean eternally once we pass on.
No.
That's what so I got confused with that. You know, a friend of mine, Warren, she saw me wearing a Fitbit, and she's like, you know, don't wear that to bed, don't you? Don't wear it constantly. And because negative forces influence you, they can go through electrical things. So like you shouldn't have a phone in your pocket all the time, or the phone by the bed all the time. Do you agree with that? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard that, because we had some people on the show who used to sleep with the computer in the room, the cell phones in the room, electric bed that moved up and down or vibrated, whatever. And all those things leach from your body. And they give negative influences into your body. And sometimes dark spirits can use those currents of electricity to influence you, because they can ride the waves, so to speak.
Isn't that something?
I know, it is.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
And so anyway, this person got brain tumor from all this electronical things.
Having it in there.
Yeah, and they took it all out of the room. They read, they used the intellect there to read, and the intelligence to listen and find out and assimilate what was right and wrong. Took everything out of the room, stopped wearing anything like that to bed, got rid of the bed with the things, you know, what are those beds that move up and down?
Yes,
that kind of bed.
Right,
and all that nice wood bed, no metal. Guess what? And of course, his diet and everything else, the brain shrunk. to now was just a little
The little
bitty
tumor,
ball. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry, the tumor shrunk.
Yeah, right.
The
It's
brain
pretty
shrunk.
shrunk.
The tumor. And they
yeah.
came on the show and talked all about it. you know?
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. I'll have to watch that one.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah.
local right here in town. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're
All
there
right,
to tell
something
you
to think
it
about.
happens.
Yeah, something to think about. So our challenge on this journey is to reconnect really with the guidance within, which we talked about in the last
Yeah.
segment. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It definitely
Okay.
is.
All right, that's it for me.
Okay. Then we'll
We
be
have
showing
time?
our third one, which is
Conscience.
conscience. All right. As soon as the control room gets it up on the monitor.
Hi, I'm Hans Wilhelm. And in this video, in the Life Explained series, I would like to talk about conscience. I don't mean consciousness, but conscience. That little inner voice that impels us towards the right action versus the wrong action. Religious teachings, sociologists and psychologists all have different views on the conscience, but the spiritual explanation is, as always, very simple. As I've mentioned in my videos on death and dying, when our soul leaves the human body at the moment of the physical death, the soul will be attracted to the sphere that corresponds to the soul's development and vibration. And at one point, every soul will go through a life review. It's like being in a movie and seeing your whole life once again, down to the smallest incident. All our sensations, every emotion, every thought, every word and every action of the life left behind will be shown to us again. Nothing is ever forgotten. No word, no thought, no action. But here is the most important element. In addition to experiencing our life again, we will also emotionally experience how our thoughts, words and actions have impacted others. All the pain, the rejection, the suffering that we have inflicted on others, knowingly or unknowingly, with unloving thoughts, words and actions. This can be a very painful, embarrassing and an upsetting experience that might fill us with disgust and shame of what we have done to others. Therefore, we do this life review always in the presence of at least one, if not two, of our spiritual guides. They do not judge us, but lovingly support us during this very difficult process. We always are our own judge. And the memory of this life review and all previous life reviews becomes the basis for our conscience in our next lifetimes. Through these life reviews, we have experienced in our own soul body the pain, the suffering we have inflicted on others, including the animal, plant and mineral kingdoms. This memory becomes the little voice within us when we have to make important choices. But things don't always work out that easily. When we incarnate into a new human body, we will not remember any of our past lifetimes. But we carry this inner memory of emotional reactions to our life reviews in our subconscious to guide us in the future. However, in our new body, we are also exposed to beliefs and programs and teachings of others from our environment, mostly from our parents, caregivers, teachers, religions, and so on. They can be in total contrast to our conscience. They can, for instance, teach us that our group, or our race, our color, our religion, our nation, and so on, is far better than others. And they can use guilt and fear against us if we ever dare to question these beliefs. These false beliefs are not ours, they don't belong to us, but they can overshadow our pure inner voice and conscience. Our conscience is always based on ultimate love. It loves the perpetrator as much as the victim because it remembers well that we have been both in many lifetimes before. Our conscience knows that only love can heal and unite. So when we then, as an adult person, have to make a decision about taking the right or the wrong path, we may be very confused. Are we listening to our inner voice, or are we listening to the false beliefs that we have picked up from others. This is now where our guardian spirit often comes in and helps us. They cannot make the decision for us. That would be against the free will. But they can bring our inner voice into stronger vibration so that we can notice it more. We all have had such experiences when we suddenly felt our heart pounding louder, or we had this strong feeling in our solar plexus that tells us that we deep down know that the right answer to everything is always love and kindness. And when we decide to follow our inner little voice or conscience, then the guardian spirit often gives us an extra jolt of energy, a moment of clarity, of joy, and it is an affirmation for having made the right decision and to encourage us to follow always our conscience in the future. Always to think, speak and act with kindness and love, because that is exactly what we learned from experiencing our own life reviews.
The old life review.
I know.
We all going to go through that.
I don't know about you, but I'm dreading it.
No, couldn't be.
Every second, every minute, everything you ever said, you know, how you made everybody feel. It's just, that's pretty heady to think about that.
That's right.
But, you know, I feel as though in this life, you know, if you make that conscious choice to live with love and kindness, you know, and I'm always trying to move more and more towards it, you know, do it more and more and more, right? I think we can always increase it. If we think about our past and we think about moments we weren't kind, we weren't loving, it can be so daunting, you know, and I feel as though it's just important in this life to ask God for forgiveness, move on.
Oh, he always does.
He always does, right?
Yeah.
You always say that. He always does. Just say, you know what, I wasn't always so nice, or I wasn't nice today, you know, I wasn't kind today.
The life
And
review.
then just go forward, though. But even like
No,
while
I
we're
mean,
here, but
the
yeah.
life review that you should do every day. Remember we talked about that?
Yes,
the life review.
Yeah, the life review
Before you go to
every
sleep
day.
at night,
Yeah.
you know, at that particular
Go
time when you're
over it.
done,
Yeah.
go over the day.
Yes.
And, you know, the other day I went through and I said, it wasn't too good today. I lost my patience. I lost my
Yeah.
tolerance, whatever.
Right.
And other days I feel peaceful. It was pretty good.
Right.
Everyone
It is
should do
nice.
that.
Right.
Do your own little life review.
We do
But
feel
you gotta
better.
be honest.
You have to be honest, because I think you do feel better when you choose kindness.
Yeah.
I mean, you can be really enraged or mad or something, but like if you choose kindness, you know, you
Today,
yeah.
in this day and age, the way people are, with all these different things they call them, we used to be conservative when I grew up, but now what's the other? I can't even remember the names of the parties. Different kinds of people believing a certain way, right? What is that?
You mean conservatives, liberals?
Liberals and
yeah.
conservatives and
Yeah.
Democrats and Republicans and
Yeah,
blah blah blah, all
right.
the titles, okay?
Right.
And then the way people act. It's harder today than it's ever been to be kind.
To be kind. That's an interesting point.
You know, you're standing in the store looking at something and someone reaches over you, or they say, excuse me, and they do something, then they push you out of the way. And you go, you want to say something. It's difficult in this day and age. The best thing to do is walk away. Otherwise, you're going to have an argument. Look at all the road rage.
Right. Bless them.
Huh?
Bless
Yes.
them. You know, just be like, bless them, and then move on.
But
You know?
everything you ever did will be shown to you. Do you remember that movie Powder?
No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he was a person who was able to, the man shot a deer. The deer was dying. He loved it. He was crying. Not the man who shot him. He put one hand on the deer and one hand on the man's, grabbed his arm, and the man was like shaking. He made him feel what the deer was going
the
through.
deer, yeah.
The fear and the pain and the suffering. The man he said, I can't kill any more deer.
I can't do it anymore.
This is what we're going to be going through. That's one example, but there's tons of them. You're going to feel on your body and your sorrow and your pain that you inflict on other people. You know, even if you embarrassed someone, made fun of them when you were like in school, made fun of somebody that was overweight or somebody that was not as intelligent, all these things are not without consequences. And the only way to help yourself is do that life review every day. And then once you realize something you did wrong, it's not in your review. It's gone. It's forgiven. Don't do it anymore. Like Christ said, go and sin no more. Right? Once you realize it, okay.
Oh, that's interesting. So you don't look at it once you...
No, once you've done it and you know it's wrong, it'll be taken from you, provided you don't do it again.
Right, right.
Okay? So,
right, so it's when you never realized,
yeah.
when you were never conscious to the fact that you did something mean or wrong or...
Those are the things that are going to be shown to you.
Yeah. And as part of that, you have to ask for forgiveness or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah. Ask for forgiveness for yourself, but you can ask for it. But the minute you are truly, heartily sorry,
right? That's
you're forgiven. God doesn't hold grudges. He doesn't dislike us in any way. He doesn't punish or anything. So he's pure love. So once that's been realized by you, it's gone from you. It's something you don't have to go through any kind of a consequence for. You've already realized it. And some of them may be painful because you won't be able to make up to the people who you did hurt while you're still alive because they've left, they've passed on, they won't talk to you. You've already hurt this animal, the terrible things people do to animals, on and on and on. So once you've done it, I've spent time crying about certain things and really, oh my God, felt so bad, you know. And then little by little, it got better and better and better. You have to forgive yourself, too.
You have to forgive yourself, too. Yeah.
You do, once you realize it. It's being honest with yourself. Being totally and completely honest with yourself.
And again, when you're in the quiet.
When you're in the quiet.
You know, if you're always having noise around you, you're never in the quiet, you're never going to be admitting...
It's even now, so when I'm with people and I want to say something or do something, I hear that voice in my head, but it's me saying, don't say that now. They're going to find that out by themselves. You don't have to tell everybody everything. Getting these little things, and I know it's part of me, but it's also part of my angels, helping me at that particular time, because I ask for help every day. That's why you have to ask and you shall receive.
So
You've heard that.
Ask. That is like the biggest thing is asking. Believe the help is there.
Believe
it's there, and they're there to help. And they will bring you the guidance and in a way that you can hear it.
Yeah.
They will do that.
People may be watching this thinking, I don't have to do any of that. You know, that's baloney. But, you know, that sounds nice, but it's just a big fairy tale. Believe me, someday when you pass over, you're going to say, uh-oh, I should have listened. You know?
Do everything you can do here to make it easier when you go on the other side.
It's time to wake up.
Yeah.
It's time to wake up, and especially the world the way it is now, you can see how we've degenerated. More and more, coming like another Sodom and Gomorrah, you know? Well, honey, girl, it's over for tonight. So it's time to give our contact information. I hope you all enjoyed the show out there, and stay tuned for more. To reach me, Rosemary LaChance, phone number is 203-627-7966. The email is whitebuffalo8@comcast.net. My website is www.rosemarylachance.com. And this next website is very important because most of all things I talk about, you can find in the books on this website, www.gabrielle-publishing-house.com. And that's from Universal Spirit.
And you can find out more about me on my website at carlaaugustin.com. Please watch my show, Spiritual Invitation, on YouTube. You just type in Carla Augustin on the search, and the shows will all pop up.
Okay, we come back to us where we can say goodnight. We have a few seconds left that we can just say that we've got some interesting guests coming on, as well as plenty more of these Life Explained videos, and we hope that we help you. And if you need any extra help, you can get in touch with us. Feel free, okay? We love you out there, all our brothers and sisters. I love you, sweetheart.
I know, love you too.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Good night.
fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you.